Savage Media. Savage Media.
Blessed risings, good afternoon or good evening, depending on where in the world you are tapping in from. You got to keep in mind that Keep It P podcast is a global show. And today, on this episode of the Kuna Matata Hour, we will be discussing Diddy's accuser's attorney says high-profile person seen with mogul in pornographic video. So who's more high profile than a mogul? You just said he's a mogul. So who are we saying? Are you saying a politician? Are we saying that there's a politician in the video? Is this what's coming out now? The lawyer claimed she'd been contacted about the sale of one of Diddy's tapes. So she's saying this is a real thing. There's tapes. She's saying she's seen the tapes apparently, and there is a high profile individual, higher profile than mogul, higher than Diddy. So who could it be? Anybody got any suggestions? You might think it'd be in the comments. Go ahead and drop them. Let me know. Let's tap in. Let's talk about that. A lawyer for a new Sean Diddy Combs accuser claims that she's been contacted about the sale of one of the Diddy tapes, specifically a pornographic video featuring the embattled hip-hop mogul indicted last week on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges, and someone more high-profile than the rapper and Bad Boy founder. Who could that be? There already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood being shopped around, but one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they are interested in purchasing the video before it became public knowledge, Ariel Mitchel-Kidd said Friday on NewsNation Banfield. I can tell the video was pornographic in nature. This was in his Atlanta home, and it does seem the person isn't looking into the video. To me, it doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. Michelle Kidd also said she was contacted a few weeks ago by a new client who claims Combs scraped her in 2018 and filed a police report at the time. She called me and told me about her assault and her escape, Mitchell-Kidd said. She was at a friend's house who had industry ties, and Diddy decided to come to the house. Mitchell-Kidd claims her client learned Combs was planning on sex trafficking her when he arrived. It led to her being served a drink. She started to feel woozy. Combs sexually assaulted her with an inanimate object, Mitchell-Kidd said, and then directed another gentleman to sexually assault her while he watched and pleasured himself. Michelle Kidd said her client was able to escape running into the street, which was witnessed by a neighbor. These allegations come as Combs remains behind bars. If there was a police report, how come we don't see it? How come we ain't heard about it? That's all I'm saying. There's all of these videos, all of this. Boy, these are some of the biggest non-secrets, but then it's the secret. 1 second, it's everybody knows. It was common knowledge. And then it's all deep, dark secrets, and they're going to be exposed, and there's tapes, and there's... But then everybody knew that they were being taped, but then you don't know they were being... It doesn't look like they knew that they were being taped. And I'm just saying, if you're an actor or actress, you already know how to not stare into the camera. And no? Is it possible? It continues. And then how'd you know you was about to be trafficked? He told you? Yeah, you about to get trafficked, girl. I mean, how were you in this right state of mind? And then you knew that he was being called, but then you stayed after knowing that you was going to be trapped. Like, how'd you find out you was going to be trafficked? Then you had the wherewithal while getting the woozy boozy drink to then escape because you knew you were going to be trafficked. And then you made a police report, but no one's ever heard of it. And now you're coming out of left field, and you didn't prosecute them then, but now you want to check. Okay, it just sounds fishy. These allegations come as Combs remains behind bars as he awaits his trial after he was indicted earlier this month on 3 counts of directing a vast criminal enterprise through which he allegedly assaulted and trafficked women with the aid of his business empire from at least 2008. He's been accused of engaging in a pervasive pattern of abuse that involved coercing women to participate in highly orchestrated sexual encounters with male sex workers who were allegedly transported across state lines and internationally. If you're already a worker, you're already a sex worker commercially. I don't know how that. I thought human trafficking was against your will, or you're a minor, so you can't consent. His bail was denied after he pleaded not guilty to the charges due to concerns he could flee the country. Combs last week was hit with yet another lawsuit, at least the 10th brought against the rapper after Cassie Ventura sued him in November 2023 in a lawsuit that sparked a federal investigation into sex trafficking and racketeering. This time, Combs was sued in New York federal court for allegedly drugging and scraping a woman in 2001. The accuser claimed she was sexually assaulted by Combs and his bodyguard. It was also reported last week that Combs is staying in the same unit as unit of Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center as Sam Bankman-Fried, the crypto mogul convicted of fraud. After Diddy was arrested on September 16th, his lawyer, Mark, issued the following statement: "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and proven philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children, and working to uplift the Black community." See, now everybody want to be Black. Now you want to come back. Now you want to be brought back into the bosom. And you want us to ride for you. Well, sir, that's the price of Hakuna Matata. That's the price of raccooning, sir. I told y'all I'm not necessarily caping for Diddy, but he represents. See, they have him up as a representative of the brother, FBA brother. See, that he's a representative. So they're putting the extra smackdown on him is representative of putting the extra smackdown on you, little Negro boy. Pay attention. Hello, McFlizzle, not trying to tell you what to think, trying to show you how to think. He is an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal. To his credit, Mr. Combs has been nothing but cooperative with this investigation, and he is voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Please reserve your judgment until you have all the facts. These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court. Agnifilo has not yet responded to the Hollywood Reporter's request on comment of Mitchell-Kidd's claims about the video and new accuser. Boy, they coming out the woodwork on you, boy. I wouldn't have came back, guilty or not guilty. I'm not coming back. But let's run this video that they have. I got a YouTube. Come on, man. It's fair use. I'm teaching. This is a teaching moment. Fair use, YouTube. You see it. You can visualize it. Audibly, you can hear me. There you go. It's fair use. I am teaching. Here we go.
I also was just recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because...
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
Yes.
the shopping thing is
Yes,
new.
there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of, and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
I've heard this before, so like a catch and kill.
Catch and kill, correct.
Wow. Can you, and I guess you can't reveal the person who is on
No,
this
I can't
tape.
explain who the person was, but Mr.
High profile?
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
Really? Really? And you've seen it? Or
I've seen stills of the video.
Okay.
So
you can verify
that it exists, that it's real, that the other person in the video is very visible. It's no question if it's that person in the video. And I can tell the video is pornographic in nature.
Oh, my. All right. So we know that he videotaped a lot of activities at his home, did he? And it sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes. This was actually in his Atlanta home, at
Okay.
a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video. So it's, to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping, like they're being surreptitiously recorded it.
Mm-hmm. All right. I wanted to ask you about the police report we talked about, but when your client came out, obviously the neighbor knew. Did she talk to her family? Did she talk to her friends? Did she have another lawyer? Let's go back to your client.
So at the time, she, as most rape victims are, they feel a lot of shame.
Absolutely.
And they don't want to vocalize what happened to them because then it makes it real. So they kind of internalize it and get over it.
Mm-hmm.
And due to the high profile nature that it was Mr. Combs who did this, she was afraid for her life. She was concerned that if she was to come forward and say something, that no one would believe her, because we're talking about 2018 when Mr. Combs was still pretty much at the height of his career, still very much so an icon and influential figure.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just a young girl from Northern California who's gonna believe that he had done something to her like this. So she didn't tell anybody. She did not hire an attorney.
You didn't tell no one, your friend, your best friend, your
in the
mom,
hopes
no
that
one?
maybe the police would try to investigate and come up with anything. But she said she kind of felt from the police that they were disregarding what she was saying, even without saying Mr. Combs' name. So she didn't feel any confidence that revealing his name would have done anything.
Sure, sure. I mean, but there's a police report.
Yeah.
I mean, that fact in of itself is a big deal, because when you're talking about going back in time and talking about these allegations from other alleged victims, you know, there's not a lot of police reports, but you guys actually have one. And is that going to be revealed? Are we going to be able to see it?
Yes, as soon as I file my lawsuit in civil court, I will be attaching the criminal complaint that was made. I'll attach the number so everyone can see that this is a real number and can go to the police department there and request their own copy of that police report that was made.
But it don't say his name.
Well, that's going to be a huge
that.
deal when it happens, obviously, so we want to follow up on that. Did Mr. Combs have any reaction? Do you know if he was interviewed? I mean, he was named in the police report?
I don't think so. Based on what she said, she really felt that the police were trying to bury this and disregard her claims and not really investigate, which is another reason why
you wasn't saying nothing.
Don't report these things to the police. We have to address the elephant in the room, is that we have victims, especially women, who go to the police, who are typically men, who don't actually investigate these things. They victim blame, they victim shame, and women don't feel safe or even protected.
Because some of it sounds ridiculous.
Because they don't think they'll be taken seriously, nor will they.
Because it doesn't sound serious.
Right. Well, your client should be proud of herself for filing that claim and making that call and going for help. Because that's a huge deal. And of course, these are allegations. We want to say that. What was it like for you when you got this phone call, when you realized what you were going to be stepping into?
After talking to her, I just wanted to protect her. I just wanted to help her. She seemed as somebody very broken by this experience. And it was very concerning for me to hear her saying these things and expressing this very deep trauma associated with what happened to her. I just wanted to make sure that, number one, she was heard and we can get her voice to the masses, and maybe Mr. Combs will actually, like right now, we're starting to see, will actually face some type of consequences for what he's done.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the
Garbanzo bean. I don't even have really no words. At least she said allegedly. Allegations, alleged allegations, you know, at least put that in the mix. You say there's a police report, but if the accuser didn't name Diddy, then how's that prove that it was him? I don't know how that proves that. And then how does it prove that how'd you know he was going to sex traffic you? He was going to sex traffic me, and then I broke out. And don't forget, you was at a friend's house. It wasn't like you was at Diddy's house. So how's your friend letting this happen to you? Huh? How's your friend allowing this at your friend's house in a place of safety? How's this happening to you? What did we learn here today, boys and girls? This is getting out of hand. But this is your fee, Mr. Combs, for being a Hakuna Matata, sir. This is your fee. I can't cake for you. But it is important. I know how to shut my mouth. Some of you Hakuna Matatas don't know how to do that. You got to go extra hard. I have to go extra hard in the paint. I got to speak. I got to yell it from the mountaintop. You don't have to. You can no comment. You can no comment. But we go extra hard on our people. You ain't said nothing about Vince McMahon. Bet you ain't said nothing about that. Bet you ain't seen about the 23andMe. Bet you ain't seen about the dollar. Oh, we already knew that it would lose your money and its power and all of that. We already knew. Then why you blame it on the politics then if you already knew? Then what's the problem then? It was always 159 countries don't use the dollar no more. Is that what we talking about? It's always been that many? Why you was worried about Diddy? Right? But see, Diddy, you kind of put some of this on yourself with your old vote and die, and you're getting in bed with them democratic shills, right? I'm just saying. I ain't going to kick you while you're down. I'm just saying why we ain't jumping or have your back like that. But some of you Hakuna Matatas is going too far. You ain't said nothing about Mr. McMahon. Yeah, the documentary? Nope, you ain't said nothing. But I ain't going to hold you. I'm just going to mold you, fold you, and scold you about being off code. Going to leave you with 4 words as we always do around this time. Subscribe for the vibe, like for the spike, comment your vomit, and share if you care, if you dare to get Black empowerment everywhere. And we are on all of the platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook. Come and take a look. You might get hooked, but don't get shook because there are imposter Keep It P podcasts out there. Love, peace, blessings, and Maloha. I gotta go how for sure how. You already know how. Big brother like Bright Supremo Mike T signing off.
Von Savage Media. Von Savage Media. Media. Von Savage Media.
Cedric Blackman, and I'm a contributor of Abolish, The Slave Patrol, a documentary that will crack open the door on a hidden truth about our present. It's a truth about the roots of something too many of us take for granted: American policing. We like to believe our systems evolved organically, but Abolish, The Slave Patrol exposes a chilling reality. It shines a light on the dark history of slave patrols and those brutal armed groups formed centuries ago to enforce slavery and control foundational Black Americans. Their legacy isn't buried in the past. It's woven into the very fabric of our modern police forces, the way officers interact with Black people, and the patterns of racial profiling and discrimination, with tragic instances of violence. They all